Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. It looks like there's a massive cover-up going on with the Los Angeles Police Department. Shock. And this is really, really awful, if true. Let me give you the basics here. An officer named Houston Tipping was recently killed, supposedly just accidentally during a training exercise. Slain LAPD officer was beaten in training meant to, quote, simulate a mob, his mother claims. A 32-year-old Los Angeles police officer who suffered fatal neck injuries during a department training last month had been getting beaten by other officers in an exercise meant to, quote, simulate a mob, according to a wrongful death claim filed against the city by his mother. Officer Houston Tipping suffered a spinal cord injury during the May 26 training at the police academy in Elysian Park and died 3 days later. He was laid to rest Wednesday during a large funeral attended by LAPD Chief Michelle Moore, other police leaders, and Mayor Eric Garcetti. Tipping's mother, Shirley Huffman, attended the funeral but did not speak at it. She filed her notice of claim against the city Friday, alleging wrongful death, assault, and battery and other civil rights violations. Such claims are often a precursor to lawsuits. Huffman alleged her son was, quote, repeatedly struck in the head severely enough that he bled, and that the beatings resulted in injuries requiring stitches. He also suffered multiple breaks in his neck, which caused his death. Huffman also alleged that the training exercise, quote, had already been questioned before Tipping was hurt because of injuries suffered by other officers. So, on the surface, all right, the LAPD, obviously a brutal police department with way too much money. Rodney King, a lot of other cases of police brutality. So maybe in this training, the police officers just got a little too rough with their fellow officer, right? Yeah, doesn't seem so. Actually, the lawyer for the mother is now claiming that he was intentionally beaten to death because this officer, Houston Tipping, was a whistleblower and investigating 4 other officers for alleged gang raping of a woman. The attorney representing Los Angeles police officer Houston Tipping's mother claims that the 32-year-old was targeted by other officers for being a potential whistleblower. Even though a coroner's report ruled Tipping's death an accident, attorney Brad Gage says he was targeted because he was a whistleblower in an assault case involving other officers. Gage claims that the alleged assault happened 10 months before Tipping's death. LAPD claims in Public Records Act requests that there was no incident report at all, said Gage. According to the Los Angeles County coroner, Tipping died of a spinal cord injury after a grappling exercise. Additionally, the autopsy found broken ribs that appear to be a Lucas device, which is an automatic CPR machine. Quote, the problem with that is other medical reports show the Lucas device was never used, the attorney said. Gage said he has not been able to speak to any of the paramedics about the treatment that was given. So, to be clear, this officer was investigating 4 other officers who were part of an alleged gang rape of a woman. I want to play you the attorney for Houston Tipping's mother. He's on video making these allegations. Take a look.
In July of 2021, 4 police officers were involved in a sexual assault of a woman in the Los Angeles area. A report was taken by Officer Tipping, and I've seen that report. And that report indicates that there was a sexual attack, and it indicates that an object was placed into the sexual organ of the female victim. And the female victim claimed that she was raped by 4 different people, all LAPD officers. She knew the names of some of those officers because they were in uniform and they had their name tags on. And that name of one of those officers with the name tag seems to correlate with one of the officers that was at the bicycle training.
And you're alleging that that officer is the one who hurt Houston Tipping?
Correct.
And you're not confirming or alleging that there might have been other officers who jumped in?
I cannot allege that because I don't have enough facts to say that one way or another yet.
Why the 10-month space between the time the crime allegedly happened and the attack on Houston Tipping?
Opportunity and investigation, learning of knowledge. I don't think that the office.
So to be clear, what you have there is the attorney for the mother is pointing out that Houston Tipping was the one that received the report on the alleged gang rape, allegedly perpetrated by 4 LAPD officers. And one of the officers that was allegedly involved with that gang rape, who had his name tag on at the same time, was part of the training beating of Houston Tipping, who was investigating that said officer. This seems pretty unlikely that a 32-year-old, presumably healthy, was beaten to death by accident in a training. You would have to have pretty intentional force by several police officers on this man to basically beat him to death, which is exactly what happened. He was actually left basically paralyzed after this beating, and his family took him off life support days later. That's quite a coincidence that one of the officers that Houston Tipping was investigating was also for alleged gang rape, was also part of said training that they beat him to death. Here's a picture of Houston Tipping and a tweet. Houston Tipping was a cop in Los Angeles who was killed during a, quote, training exercise by his fellow LAPD officers. He happened to be investigating a gang rape by 4 cops that allegedly occurred 10 months before his death. And one of those 4 cops were there when he was incapacitated. Yeah, I don't believe in coincidence like that, especially with the Los Angeles Police Department, who, if you follow Status Coup, our Tina Desiree Berg, based in Los Angeles, has covered a whole lot of protests where LAPD are beating the living daylights out of protesters. And honestly, that lawyer, I mean, to make those claims, either, you know, he's kind of like one of these attention-seeking lawyers, or he has some form of evidence to indicate this. And what's interesting also is the LAPD is denying there was an incident report as far as this alleged rape. I mean, I'll go back to the story here. Even though a coroner's report ruled Tipping's death an accident, attorney Brad Gage says he was targeted because he was a whistleblower in an assault case involving other officers. Gage claims that the alleged assault happened 10 months before Tipping's death. Quote, LAPD claims in Public Records Act request that there was no incident report at all. Well, have we ever seen a police department magically have no paper trail to brutal murders or brutal gang rapes? Remember, the blue wall of silence. They protect their own. This is horrific. And honestly, nothing, I mean, if it is proven that this was all a conspiracy to basically murder this man so that these 4 police officers can't be brought to justice for, again, allegedly gang raping a woman, maybe one of the officers will go down, maybe some of them will go down, but it's not going to change the culture that allowed that to happen. Presumably, more people than the one officer who was allegedly part of the gang rape of a woman and then was allegedly part of the, you know, beatdown of this officer. Obviously, there would have to be, you know, more than one person conspiring, more than one cop conspiring to basically take Houston Tipping out before he could continue this investigation and potentially, you know, recommend charges against his fellow officers. It's just vile. You know, you have to throw alleged because we don't know all the facts, but what we do know, generally speaking, 32-year-old police officers who, you know, you would think are in relatively good health, don't accidentally get beaten to death in training exercises. So we'll stay on this, but it really, really smells rotten. I am sure the Democratic mayor, the police chief, this and that, are going to do their best to silently cover this up. I'm sure the media, who generally speaking is compliant and pretty, lazy in Los Angeles, pretty, deferential to what the police say, what the politicians say. Maybe they'll investigate this aggressively. I'm not hopeful, but what we do know is this smells really, really rotten. We'll stay on it. Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.